The world never plays fair. No matter how honest you are, someone will betray you. No matter how skilled you become, someone less qualified will take your spot. That's reality. But those who understand this reality, they survive. And those who survive, they rule. This is a power you can't see, but everyone feels it. This is dark intelligence. Dark intelligence is born when people get betrayed, humiliated, and defeated. Others break down, but you build strength from that pain. It's the kind of intelligence that listens, watches, stays quiet, and strikes at the perfect moment. While others argue, you gather information. While they get angry, you calculate. While they drown in emotions, you plan the future. Most people play checkers. You're about to learn how to play chess. But before we dive deep, let me be crystal clear. This knowledge is for protection, not destruction. Use it to defend yourself, not to hurt innocent people. The goal is to understand the game, not to become the villain. Today, you'll discover the 8 psychological traits that separate survivors from victims, leaders from followers, winners from losers. Now, I want you to drop this affirmation in the comments. I choose to be strategically intelligent, not emotionally reactive. Now let's unlock the secrets that powerful people don't want you to know. Number 1, calculated opacity. You're never completely clear about your intentions. You show only what's necessary. When people know half the story, they fill in the blanks with their imagination. And that imagination, it controls them. Machiavelli once said, "Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are." Think about the most intriguing people you know. They never tell you everything. They leave gaps in their stories. They answer questions with questions. They smile when you expect them to explain. This isn't about lying. This is about strategic communication. Here's what happens in most conversations. Someone asks you a question, and you feel obligated to give them a complete answer. You explain your motivations, your fears, your plans. You think you're being honest and building trust, but you're actually giving away your power. Smart people understand that mystery creates influence. When you don't reveal everything, people become curious. Curiosity leads to interest. Interest leads to respect, and respect leads to influence. Let's say someone asks about your weekend plans. Most people say, "Oh, I'm just staying home, maybe watching some movies." That's complete transparency, but it's also completely forgettable. Instead, you could say, "I have something important to take care of." Then change the subject. Notice the difference? The first answer makes you predictable. The second answer makes you interesting. This doesn't mean being rude or secretive about everything. It means being selective about what you share and when you share it. The most successful people in any field master this principle. They reveal just enough to keep people engaged, but never enough to lose their advantage. Your information is your currency. Don't spend it all at once. When you practice calculated opacity, people start paying more attention to what you say because they know you don't say everything. Your words carry more weight because they're rare. Remember, the goal isn't to be mysterious for the sake of being mysterious. The goal is to maintain control over your narrative and your relationships. Number 2, adaptive persona. You're not the same person with everyone. You adjust your personality based on who you're talking to. People think they know you, but they only know one version of you. Machiavelli once said, "A prince ought to take care that he never lets anything slip from his lips that is not replete with the 5 qualities mentioned above, that he may appear to him who sees and hears him altogether merciful, faithful, humane, upright, and religious. This isn't about being fake. This is about being effective. You already do this naturally. You speak differently to your grandmother than you do to your friends. You act differently in a job interview than you do at a party. You present different aspects of your personality in different situations. Adaptive persona takes this natural tendency and makes it intentional. Every person you meet has different values, different communication styles, and different ways of processing information. If you use the same approach with everyone, you'll connect with some people and completely miss others. Smart people study the person they're talking to and adjust their communication accordingly. Are they analytical? Give them facts and data. Are they emotional? Connect with their feelings. Are they practical? Show them how something works. Are they big picture thinkers? Paint the vision. This isn't manipulation. This is communication intelligence. Think about water. Water takes the shape of whatever container it's in, but it never loses its essential properties. It's still water whether it's in a cup, a bottle, or a lake. Your adaptive persona works the same way. You adjust your presentation to fit the situation, but you never lose your core values and principles. The mistake most people make is thinking they need to be authentic in the same way with everyone. But authenticity doesn't mean being identical in every situation. It means being genuinely yourself while adapting your expression to be most effective. When you master adaptive persona, you become someone who can connect with anyone. People feel understood when they're with you because you're speaking their language. This skill becomes incredibly powerful in negotiations, leadership situations, and building relationships. You're not trying to force people to understand you. You're making it easy for them to connect with you. But here's the warning: never adapt so much that you lose yourself. Your values, your integrity, your core principles should never change. Only your presentation should adapt. The strongest people are like diamonds. They have many facets, but they're still one solid stone. Number 3, the principle of detachment. You're not a slave to any relationship, emotion, or opinion. What you're not afraid to lose can't control you. What can't bind you can't manipulate you either. Machiavelli once said, "Since love and fear can hardly exist together, if we must choose between them, it is far safer to be feared than loved." Detachment is probably the most misunderstood concept in dark intelligence. People think it means being cold or uncaring. It doesn't. It means being free. Most people are controlled by their attachments. They're afraid to lose their job, so they accept bad treatment. They're afraid to lose a relationship, so they compromise their values. They're afraid to lose approval, so they say what people want to hear instead of what needs to be said. Fear of loss makes you weak. Freedom from that fear makes you powerful. This doesn't mean you shouldn't care about anything. It means you shouldn't be desperate about anything. Imagine this. 2 people are negotiating a business deal. Person A really needs this deal to work out. They're counting on it. They've already made plans based on it happening. Person B would like the deal to work out, but they have other options. They're willing to walk away if the terms aren't right. Who do you think has more power in that negotiation? Person B, obviously, because they're not attached to the outcome. They can negotiate from strength. Detachment gives you clarity. When you're not emotionally invested in being right, you can see situations more clearly. When you're not desperate for approval, you can make better decisions. When you're not afraid of being alone, you can choose better relationships. The paradox is this: the less you need something, the more likely you are to get it. Think about confident people. They're not confident because everything always goes their way. They're confident because they know they'll be okay, even if things don't go their way. That's the power of detachment. Now, this doesn't mean being careless or indifferent. You should still work hard for your goals and care about the people in your life. But you should never be so attached to any outcome that you lose your ability to think clearly and act strategically. Detachment also protects you from manipulation. When someone tries to threaten you with taking away something you're not afraid to lose, their threat has no power. The most dangerous person in any room is the one who has nothing to lose. But the most powerful person in any room is the one who has everything to gain and nothing to fear. Practice this gradually. Start with small things. Don't be so attached to winning every argument. Don't be so attached to being liked by everyone. Don't be so attached to your plans working out exactly as you imagined. As you develop this skill, you'll notice something interesting. People start treating you with more respect. They sense that you can't be easily controlled, and that commands respect. Remember, detachment isn't about not caring. It's about caring without being controlled by that care. Number 4, silent leverage. You don't apply pressure directly, you wait. When people make mistakes and become vulnerable, your silent presence becomes the heaviest influence in the room. Machiavelli once said, "Never was anything great achieved without danger." Most people think power is loud. They think it's about raising your voice, making demands, and forcing your will on others. That's amateur hour. Real power whispers. Silent leverage is the art of creating influence without saying a word. It's about positioning yourself so that your mere presence changes the dynamic of any situation. Here's how it works. Instead of telling people what to do, you create situations where they naturally want to do what benefits you. Instead of demanding respect, you make yourself indispensable. Instead of fighting for power, you make people give it to you willingly. Let's break this down with practical examples. In conversations, silent leverage means knowing when to pause. Most people are uncomfortable with silence, so they fill it with words. Often those words reveal more than they intended to share. When you're comfortable with silence, you control the rhythm of the conversation. Next time someone asks you a difficult question, don't answer immediately. Pause. Look at them thoughtfully. Let the silence stretch for a few seconds. Then give your answer. Watch how it changes the weight of your response. In negotiations, silent leverage means having alternatives that you don't need to mention. When the other person knows you have options, they negotiate differently. You don't have to threaten to walk away. Your willingness to walk away is enough. In relationships, silent leverage means being the person who adds value without asking for recognition. When you consistently make other people's lives better, they naturally want to keep you around. You don't have to demand loyalty, you earn it through your actions. In professional settings, silent leverage means becoming the person everyone comes to for solutions. You don't announce that you're the problem solver. You just solve problems consistently until everyone knows they can count on you. The key to silent leverage is patience. You're not looking for immediate results. You're building long-term influence. Most people want instant gratification. They want to see immediate results from their efforts. But silent leverage works differently. You plant seeds and wait for them to grow. You make investments and wait for them to pay dividends. This requires a different mindset. You have to be comfortable with delayed gratification. You have to trust that your consistent actions will eventually create the influence you're seeking. What happens when you master silent leverage? People start coming to you for advice without you offering it. They start seeking your approval without you demanding it. They start following your lead without you asking them to. You become the quiet force that shapes outcomes without anyone realizing it's happening. But there's an important ethical consideration here. Silent leverage should never be used to manipulate people into doing things that harm them. The goal is to create win-win situations where everyone benefits. The most ethical use of silent leverage is to influence people toward better decisions for themselves and others. You're not tricking them, you're guiding them toward outcomes that serve everyone's best interests. Remember, silent leverage is not passive. You're still taking action, you're still making moves. You're just doing it quietly and strategically, instead of loudly and obviously. Number 5. Psychological echo. You reflect people's deepest needs and fears back to them. They think you're speaking their language, but actually, you're gaining understanding and influence. Machiavelli once said, "Men judge generally more by the eye than by the hand, for everyone can see and few can feel." Everyone sees what you appear to be. Few really know what you are. Psychological echo is about becoming a mirror that reflects back what people need to see and hear. This isn't about deception. It's about deep understanding and strategic communication. People don't buy products, services, or ideas. They buy solutions to their problems and fulfillment of their desires. When you can identify and reflect back their real needs, you become incredibly valuable to them. Most people are terrible at this because they're too focused on what they want to say instead of what the other person needs to hear. Let me explain how psychological echo works in practice. First, you have to become a student of human nature. You need to understand that everyone you meet is carrying invisible burdens, secret desires, and unspoken fears. Your job is to listen for clues about what those might be. When someone talks about their work, they're not just sharing information. They're revealing how they see themselves, what they value, and what they're worried about. When someone talks about their relationships, they're showing you their emotional patterns and their deepest needs. Most people listen to respond. You need to listen to understand. Here's a practical framework. Every person you meet is asking 3 silent questions. Do you see me? Do you understand me? Do you value me? When you can answer yes to all 3 of those questions through your words and actions, you create a powerful connection. The psychological echo technique involves reflecting back not just what people say, but what they mean. You listen for the emotion behind the words, the need behind the complaint, the fear behind the anger. For example, if someone says, "I hate my job," most people might respond with advice about finding a new job. But if you listen deeper, you might hear that they actually feel unappreciated, unchallenged, or uncertain about their future. A psychological echo response might be, "It sounds like you're not feeling valued for your contributions," or "It seems like you're ready for something that challenges you more." Notice the difference? Instead of jumping to solutions, you're reflecting back their emotional experience. This makes people feel understood, which creates trust and influence. The key is to reflect back the positive version of what they're expressing. If someone is complaining about being overwhelmed, you might reflect back their dedication and high standards. If someone is expressing frustration about a situation, you might reflect back their desire for excellence. This technique works because people have a deep psychological need to feel understood. When you demonstrate that you truly see them, they automatically trust you more and value your opinions more highly. But here's where it gets really powerful. Once you understand someone's core needs and fears, you can position your ideas, suggestions, and requests in terms that